This is one of my older projects, which hopefully you'll distinguish them from my newer pieces because the camera work is not that great. But this was my first encaustic cube that I ever did. It's very much an experiment in figuring out how to do these things right, how to avoid the drips on the sides as much as possible, and how to even them out when they happen inevitably. I used encaustic gesso to make the cube white because I wanted the base to be white. It wasn't until later that I realized that encaustic gesso also helps with cubes. Some cubes are solid. This one is not. This one is hollow, and so all 6 sides are kind of solid wood that is with the grain. But some cubes are solid wood, and so a couple of the sides will be very much more porous than the other sides. I don't know how to explain that phenomenon very well, but for those types of cubes, you definitely need to use encaustic gesso to kind of keep the wax from soaking all the way in. But my idea with this cube was to create a map on each side that is related to a very special place to me, like places that I've lived, places where I was a missionary, places where I went to school, things like that. It worked out really well. I think it turned out much better than I was expecting. Though I will confess that while I was working on this, I made a really big mistake. And I actually, a few years ago, when I posted this on my other YouTube channel, I was too scared to share that mistake in the video. But I'm going to share it with you now. So I'm using oil paint to fill in these lines. And I wipe it away with linseed oil once all the lines are filled, to get a nice clean surface and to leave the oil paint in the lines that I've carved. Oil paint, it takes a while to dry, but if you leave it overnight, like I did, it was at least 24 hours that I just left the messy surface on there on one side of my cube. Everything dried up. The oil paint, it wasn't thick enough. The paint dried. Once it dries, you cannot wipe it off. It doesn't matter how much linseed oil you use, nothing like that will work. So what I had to do is I had to scrape the entire surface, and it was a pain in the neck. So I wasn't brave enough to share that before, but just a warning, if you're ever filling your incised lines with oil paint of any kind, wipe it away with your oil first before it dries, because scraping it off doesn't really work that well. It's much, much better to get a clean surface. And another thing, when you scrape it, you will end up with just dried flecks that you just can't get rid of. It's a really tedious process, and the surface doesn't get as clean as it does when you just wipe it off. So don't wait. Don't procrastinate. Just get it done. But this cube is fantastic. I love having it in my house on my shelf. It's such a great little keepsake reminder of some important places in my life. If you are interested in getting one of these, I can make one custom for you. You can reach out to me on Instagram or through my website, www.thefarpavilion.com. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. I want to take a minute to shout out to my members. Thank you so much for being a part of my channel and helping to support my work. It is so much appreciated. The Tinkerer's Wife, Andy Dees, and Sue Rowe have been members for a long time, and it's just been so great to have their support. Thank you so much. Per Id, I do not think I'm pronouncing that right, so I apologize, but very grateful for your support too. Susie Jelinek, Cindy Griffiths, Carrie Greer, Yasmin Community. If I mispronounced any of those, I apologize, but thank you so much for your support too. I really, really appreciate it, and I hope you'll stick around. Patrice Kubler, Barbara Robinson, Anna Marie Ramirez, Jimena Rincon, and Jacqueline Wooten. Thank you so much for being a part of the channel. I'm really happy that you're here, and I hope you'll stick around and see what else I have to offer. I welcome any of your feedback too, so looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much.